Chapter 7. Halistan's New Job. For the first time in years, no academy bell had dragged him from bed. No brother had checked his place at morning worship. No chores waited. So Halistan had done the unthinkable and rested. By late afternoon, only one duty remained: report to Father Angelo and learn what came next. That should have been easy. Angelo had been teacher, guardian, and something close to a father ever since Halistan's parents vanished among those the city called the Lost. Yet outside the old priest's office, Halistan found his hands damp.
"It's only Angelo."
He knocked. No answer. He raised his hand again and the door opened.
"Yes, who? Oh, Halistan, my boy, come in."
The office was as cluttered as ever, all scrolls, candles, and overworked shelves.
"Sit, if you can find the chair beneath the papers."
Halistan sat. Angelo turned from his desk, spectacles low on his nose.
"I expect you're wondering what work awaits you."
"I am, Father."
A week earlier, before graduation, Angelo had asked him to delay missionary service and stay for a special project. He had explained little beyond that.
"Tell me then, if you could choose any duty, what would it be?"
"Traveling the empire, healing the sick, bringing salvation."
Bah, a textbook answer.
Halistan looked down. Caught.
"I know you better. You love old texts more than road dust. Your eyes shine brightest over forgotten histories."
It was true. Halistan cared for healing, but ancient words stirred him more deeply than any sermon ever had.
"So if you could work in any room I have described, where would it be?"
"I don't know."
Angelo smiled, reached into his collar, and drew out a silver chain. He opened his hand. A bluish-silver, four-pointed star swung there.
"The Star of Solace? How do you have this?"
The relic was one of the church's guarded treasures, said to have been fashioned by Salus and given to the first patriarch.
"Take it."
Halistan did, and understanding struck at once.
"The vault."
Angelo nodded. Hidden beneath the cathedral, the vault held first scriptures, dangerous relics, and texts too precious or perilous for common keeping. Rank did not open it. Relics did.
"What is the work?"
"The council has acquired scrolls that need deciphering and cataloguing."
"Why not send them to the Great Library?"
"Because they are special.
"How?"
They are written in script."
Script was older than the church, half forgotten and mostly unloved by students. Halistan had mastered far more of it than most.
"We've seen script before. Rare, yes, but usually dull."
"These are not dull."
He headed for the door.
"Come."
Halistan followed him through rear corridors and down into the catacombs. The air turned colder and wetter. At last they reached a great granite door carved thick with runes.
"Hold the star before you."
Halistan swallowed, lifted the Star of Salus by its chain, and extended it toward the door. With a sharp crack, a thin vertical line split the center of the stone. The door parted smoothly, each half sliding away as if pushed by invisible hands. Halistan froze, wide-eyed, watching the forbidden door open for the first time in his life.
"Aren't you coming?"
Oh, yes."
Flustered, Halistan hurried after his mentor into the darkness beyond. As they stepped inside, candles in iron sconces flared to life one after another, their flames leaping up as though they had been waiting centuries for a single command. The secret chamber was far larger than Halistan had imagined could exist beneath the sanctuary. Walls of shelves sagged under the weight of books, and diamond-shaped nicks held tightly rolled scrolls. The air smelled of old paper, leather, and a faint trace of incense long faded. Along the right wall, a glass-fronted cabinet displayed strange objects, holy symbols Halistan did not recognize, a ceremonial vestment, and a tall, stiff hat.
Those are relics that belonged to previous church elders and patriarchs. The hat belonged to Patriarch Celius, the first patriarch of our church.
Halistan studied the hat, amazed that such a fragile thing had survived the ages. He did not ask how. He simply assumed the cabinet was woven through with protective enchantments. Angelo motioned for him to follow, leading him deeper into the archive. The room opened into a study space with several chairs and a cluster of shelves. At its heart stood a massive granite table, easily twice the size of the marble altar above. Scrolls lay unrolled across the stone, pinned open with lead weights. Between them rested leather-bound journals, an inkwell, and several waiting quills.
I'd already begun some of the work, but my eyes just aren't what they used to be, and I was forced to give up.
What did you decipher already?
Halistan leaned over the central scroll as Angelo walked around to the opposite side, adjusting his spectacles.
Have you ever heard the story of Alistair Jaden?
Of course. It was one of my favorite stories growing up.
Angelo's voice dropped to a near whisper, as if the stones themselves might be listening.
I too used to enjoy that story, but after reading this, I'm not entirely sure it was a fairy tale.
What?
Here, look at my notes.
Angelo slid his journal across the granite. Halistan picked it up carefully, turning to the first page of translation. The flowing script spoke of the final days of the Great War and of a monastery that Alistair was said to have built when the fighting ended. On another page, a rough, hurried map tried to match landmarks from the scroll to the real world. Beside it, on the table, lay a map of the Empire's eastern region. Halistan compared the two, feeling a faint prickle at the back of his neck.
You don't honestly think this is real, do you?
A hint of skepticism crept into his voice, despite his efforts to sound respectful.
Yes, I think this might actually be one of the lost scrolls of Alistair.
Angelo's face split into a wide grin, his eyes bright with a young man's excitement despite his years.
Are you certain? We've been fooled before.
I know, but this time I had the parchment inspected by some of the council themselves. They used their magic to confirm that it dates back to shortly after the Great War.
This is unbelievable.
Remarkable, isn't it?
I'd still like to go over the translations myself. I just don't want to get my hopes up too quickly.
Oh yes, I understand completely. We mustn't be hasty in this.
Halistan continued to thumb through Angelo's careful notes, his mind already sorting through languages and symbols. Across the table, the older priest stretched, joints popping softly, and let out a long, weary yawn.
Oh my, I must be more tired than I thought.
Halistan guessed it was already past evening service, and for him, this was a good hour for study. For Father Angelo, who rose long before dawn, it was late indeed.
May I take the journal and look it over tonight? I can review what you've done already, and we'll get a fresh start in the morn.
Oh, I almost completely forgot. Tomorrow we won't be working on these. We'll begin later.
What?
The word came out sharper than he intended. Why bring him into this hidden wonder, only to delay?
First thing in the morning, I need you to find Father Lannis.
Okay.
He'll have new formal robes for you. The church, Patriarch Altstadt and the elders have been invited to a special event held tomorrow by the Emperor.
Halistan blinked, unsure he had heard correctly.
I want you to be one of our attendants.
Really? Me?
He had never attended a formal imperial event in his life. He imagined polished marble halls, glittering courtiers, and himself forgetting which way to bow.
Yes, you'll be there to assist me and the other elders. Don't worry, Halistan. You'll do fine. I'll tell you everything you need to know on the way. We leave shortly after noon, so don't be late.
Angelo's reassuring smile eased some of the tightness in Halistan's chest, but not all of it.
Now come, we both need our rest. There is much to do tomorrow, and not much time to prepare.
Halistan gathered the journal and the map, clutching them close as he followed Angelo out of the great room. Behind them, the massive stone door slid shut, sealing the secret archive once more. In the corridor, Halistan held out the Star of Solace to Angelo, expecting to return it.
Here, Father, you should take this.
Angelo merely set a firm hand on Halistan's shoulder.
You hold on to it for the night.
Really? But won't you get in trouble?
Listen, I've just entrusted you with one of the most closely guarded secrets of the Healing Order, if not the entire Church. I trust you with it as easily as I'd trust my life.
Halistan felt heat rush to his cheeks.
Thank you.
Angelo patted his shoulder once more, then led the way back up toward the living quarters. In his small room, Halistan shut the thick wooden door and slid the bolt into place. He kicked off his boots and lay back on his narrow bed, Father Angelo's journal resting on his chest. In his right hand, he held the Star of Solace up before his eyes. The tiny magical pendant caught the candlelight with a bluish sparkle, looking like silver touched by starlight. He opened the journal to the newest translations and began to read, but his thoughts kept drifting back to the hidden archive, the Emperor's summons, and Angelo's words of trust. He found himself rereading the same lines again and again, blinking as his eyes grew heavy. At last, he decided to close his eyes for just a moment, to rest them before diving back into the mystery waiting in those ancient words. I hope you have enjoyed this latest chapter of No Rest for the Wicked. Please hit like and subscribe to help the channel grow and stay tuned for the next chapter. Andrea receives a visitor.